All right. Well, I've been watching the newest season of Skinwalker Ranch on the History Channel. It's season 3. Last season, they were doing a lot of experiments, trying to use thermal and various types of like imagery to capture anomalies and measure radio frequencies. And typically when they did experiments on Skinwalker Ranch, they would run into electrical phenomenon that would shut down their equipment and make it incredibly difficult to record things or to use multiple computers at once. This season, they're back in a big way, okay? And they've got some experiments that they're trying to do to measure some sort of phenomenon that is above the ranch. Now, they detected various microwave activity. They believe that there is a large source of energy like above the ranch. So they're trying to get measurements of the electromagnetic frequency and GPS coordinates above the ranch. So what they're trying to do is drop GPS trackers that records all sorts of data as it falls through this region above the ranch. And so they were flying up there in a helicopter, dropping out these GPS trackers to see what kind of data they can get. And this first little clip is about that.
Of the GPS trackers that we released from the helicopter, we managed to retrieve 2 of them. And it appears the data are intact. At this point, we don't know the location of the others. I've had a preliminary look at the data, and there are some interesting discrepancies. What I want to show you are the 2 separate GPS data payloads. All right, now, let me explain what you're looking at here. You can probably guess. These blue cubes that I'm using represent the position of the GPS payloads. This is where things start getting strange. These blue cubes appear to be 50 feet, 70 feet below the surface of the mesa. Looks like you smashed into the mesa. What the heck? How?
So they got like weird data from that. It's not like as straightforward as they thought it would be. So their GPS trackers, when they drop them, they expect it to kind of go somewhat straight down. You know, they take into account the wind and whatnot. But that's not what they're getting. They're getting measurements that seem to be as if the trackers are hitting and going below the surface of the ranch. Here's a little clip to follow up on that.
Holy cow, look at that. When we dropped the payload, so we threw it out right there, and then look, it goes upwind.
As if things aren't weird enough. First, the GPS thought we went into the mesa. Now, we pinpointed an exact location above the triangle where we've measured strange energy readings in the past, and it looks like the GPS units bounced off something we couldn't see. I wonder if that's the same thing that went under Cameron's helicopter last year.
All right, so, holy crap.
So as they're doing these experiments, not only are they having weird readings, but they also spotted an unidentified helicopter above the ranch doing its own kind of, it looks like a crisscross, almost like loop back and forth. Like they're doing their own kind of measurements of the ranch. It's not theirs. They couldn't figure out who the helicopter belonged to, but it was up there in the sky. And oftentimes when they're doing these experiments, when they're getting ready to do a large-scale experiment, they bring people from the outside in onto the ranch. They will observe the sky and see a UFO, a bright light that will be there and then zip off. During this, they had a helicopter up dropping the GPS, and they said, we saw a shadow of something that looked like it was following below us, but we couldn't see anything visually. So it looked like something else was in the air, but they couldn't tell what it was. So they decided to reproduce this experiment a few days later, but with a plane, using the same kind of instruments to see maybe it was just an anomaly with their sensors. So let's do the whole thing again and see what happens.
The stuff that I got out of the actual data logging, that's really perplexing. Get this. These little guys, they receive signals directly from the satellites. They're GPS tracker units. I had 5 of these things on the flight. The data from 4 of the 5 was either absent or garbled. And get this, the one that worked is flawless. This is really suggestive that there's something locally going on here.
Well, let's see it.
Yeah, let me bring this up. So here we are at the Roosevelt Airstrip, and we did, just as planned, we did several altitudes, making those S-turns and doing what we call the push broom pattern.
So you said that her system data logged on board, so what did it show?
You're not gonna believe this. So this is what one of our units got. And, as I said, it looks pristine.
It really does.
It looks.
I don't see anything in that looks like anything jumped out of.
Yeah. Now, you guys are not going to believe this. Let me show you what I received from Kendra.
Is that under the ranch?
So, yeah, I need to explain this.
Look at that.
Uh-huh.
That's interesting.
Just as you saw with the yellow tracks from our trackers, you see the flight out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she's taking this path. We execute one loop, if you will, over the property, and then everything falls apart. Many of the altitude readings that she reported were far beneath the ground, in fact, beneath sea level. And not just beneath sea level, but 62.5 miles below sea level.
So yeah, their readings are all off. They can't get anything accurate. At one point in time, it looks up like they're up in the air, but the GPS is saying, no, you're actually 62 miles below the surface. So some weird, strange stuff going on there. Something's definitely going on. And it's happening over and over again. It's just not one experiment. It's a multiple. And then my final clip here is as they're doing these experiments, they're trying to communicate from the ground up to the aircraft. And they're using walkie-talkies. They're doing a television show, so they're all mic'd up, probably with lav mics, all that kind of stuff. And as they're doing this, they're detecting a very particular frequency that tends to appear when they're doing these experiments. And they can't pinpoint exactly why it's occurring or what is producing it.
Look at that. The 1.6 is going crazy. I don't know what that is. In the middle of all this chaos, once again, the spectrum analyzer suddenly registered an RF radiation spike at a frequency of 1.6 gigahertz. Now, that's the same kind of energy spike we've seen over and over when UAPs have appeared in the past. And it happened at the same time Eric and Kendra were seeing the shadow of some sort of mysterious aircraft. What is that?
What the heck? What? Why is that picking us up? It's picking us all up.
Just after the 1.6 gigahertz RF spike in the control room, we suddenly heard our own voices being broadcast and echoing back at us.
Call and tell them, give me a second.
Stand by for one moment, please.
There's no way that should have been possible. It was like we were being recorded by someone or something in real time.
Maybe it's in here.
So they don't know why they're getting this feedback. It popped up all of a sudden. Like their voices were being picked up by a mic and then sent back through their walkie-talkie or speaker system there. They couldn't figure it out. So a lot of weird anomalies going on. They have filmed some UFOs and a lot of weirdness. They don't know what it all means, though. They have a lot of data. They don't know what it means. They don't know where some of these signals are being produced. And it's continuing. All these events continue to happen, but without much analysis involved. So as they get ready to do experiments, they know things are going to mess up, like a computer shuts down, but they don't know why or what is the catalyst for spontaneous computer shutdown or these weird anomalies. So just some more Skinwalker Ranch stuff there for you. And that's episode 3. So that's just kind of like a little encapsulation of 3 episodes. Same stuff happens. Some people who come on the ranch to get horrible headaches. There's a spike in microwave frequency range. People get headaches, not unlike like a Havana syndrome kind of stuff that happens. But to our knowledge, we don't have any measurements of the frequency spikes around people that have experienced Havana syndrome. So there might be something like that going on at the ranch. So.
The 1.6 gig, they just had their satellite phone on. That's all that was.
Well, I mean, it's possible.
No, I guarantee you that's what it was, because they're out there where there's no cell signal, so they have their satellite phone on, and that's where satellite phones operate.
In 1.6?
1.6.
Well, I don't know that. I don't know if they have a satellite phone. Maybe they do. You'd hopefully you'd imagine that they would rule that out as a possibility. It'd be
these guys
pretty
also talking
stupid.
about all the amount of stuff they have out there. I guarantee there's just a bunch of dirty noise floating around. So
what is all that stuff anyway?
What is all that stuff?
We don't know. What this
so
stuff
I
is.
love that microphone going into the dude's mouth gif. People don't know. You could join us on Twitch and wherever else, Mike. You tell them. But Cratchit puts up all these gifs to add flavor.
Yeah. Who is that guy?
I don't know.
What is that?
Is that
Skinwalker Ranch miking up for their show?
Yeah.
What is that?
That's the most random, funny, weird. What the fuck? It's like they drop a boom mic in his mouth like a dick. It's like a bathhouse micro dick.
I was going to use Bill Hicks here. But,
There you go. Yeah.
What is that?
Well, Joe, that's all I got. I know you tolerate the Skinwalker Ranch
More.
segment.
I do want to say in general, I congratulate them on milking the shit out of that show.
No, I know, dude. I was thinking
Because
the
the
same
one thing they don't do is go do any sort of paranormal investigations. You got 3 jagoffs driving around in a Jeep saying like, "My phones are not working."
I know, dude.
5. There's 5 people. Okay.
I mean,
Five-
put on
five
some
jagoffs.
lab coats because they sound like, they just got out of the outhouse and turned on like whatever the hell gear they got.
Well, the accent doesn't help, but he does seem like a smart guy.
He's a passionate guy. I get that. But like things where they're like, hey, these GPS units were malfunctioning. So we did the test again the next day from a different place in a different aircraft. It's like, well, that's not going to be valid. What are you? Work for the FDA or something? CDC? Just making shit up?
Listen, I give them the benefit of the doubt, Cratchit. I know you do not sing their praises, and you think that it's mostly incompetent people doing this stuff. I'm going to take them at face value that the things that they're doing are done in a scientific way.
I'm just frustrated because of all the cool stuff that's possibly going on at Skinwalker Ranch. You got these guys just yelling about their phones and microphones.
I agree. I don't know why they haven't chosen to do like remote viewing, more like spiritual, psionic, psychic kind of stuff.
Let's
bring on
some of the
people.
Skinwalkers out there.
Yeah, they need to get in touch with the more paranormal side. If you're going to track the paranormal, you got to bring in the paranormal,
Mm-hmm.
and so bring in some psychics, bring in some shaman. There are plenty of Native American shaman that know a lot about the area that may want to come onto the ranch. They talk to them around the area, in the surrounding area, but they haven't invited a lot on the ranch. They have invited 1 or 2 to do some sort of seances, but not in the way that I would envision. So
I'm thinking of like Scooby-Doo. They need to get a UFO person. They need to get a psychic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They got all these different folks. Like they got to have like a ghost hunter.
They need an A-team of ghost busting. They do. They need an A-team of ghost busting to get it done, but it's not getting done. And I wish they would get it done. Okay.
The Scooby-Doo idea. They need like a couple of goofball characters. They need, a dog. They need a haunted amusement park.
Yeah.
Turn out it was
Three-legged dog. It has to or a dog with 2 wheels because he lost his back legs.
And then it turns out it was Mr. Withers the entire time.
Yeah.
Give us an email at ourbigdumbmouth@gmail.com. Check out obdmpod.com for all the social media and donation links. be a part of the magic.